The moon opposing the ascendant in Synastry, also known as the moon conjunct the descendant, is one of the most profound and evocative, soul contract, aspects in astrological analysis. In karmic astrology, this placement suggests a bond that is not merely emotional, but deeply rooted in past life resolutions regarding security, nurturing, and the balance of the self versus the other. From self to belonging. When one person's moon, the soul's emotional memory, falls directly on another's descendant, the gateway to partnership, a powerful mirroring effect is initiated. In a karmic sense, the ascendant individual represents the physical manifestation of the moon person's inner needs. The moon person feels an immediate, almost uncanny sense of home in the presence of the ascendant person. Conversely, the ascendant person feels that the moon person provides the missing emotional piece to their public identity. This is often described as a reunion of the anima and animus, where the internal emotional landscape of one partner finds its external home in the other. The past life narrative, the debt of nurturance. Karmically, this opposition often points toward a shared history where the roles of caretaker and dependent were established, but perhaps left unfinished. It suggests a cycle where the two souls have functioned as a family unit, often as parent and child or as spouses in a traditional domestic setting. The presence of the moon here implies that in a previous incarnation, one partner may have provided significant emotional or physical safety for the other, or perhaps failed to do so. In this lifetime, the attraction is magnetic because the scent of that previous safety is still lingering. The ascendant person acts as the catalyst, pulling the moon person's deepest subconscious habits into the light. The debt being settled here is usually the integration of emotional vulnerability into the personality. The polarity of need. The karmic implication of an opposition is always balance. Unlike a conjunction, which can lead to a merging of identities, the opposition requires the two souls to stand apart and recognize their differences. The moon person's karma. They are learning to project their internal needs outward and find security in a partner rather than retreating into the self. Their lesson involves trusting another person with their shadow self. The ascendant person's karma. They are learning to incorporate sensitivity into their outer persona. They often attract the moon person because they have been too focused on their own independent, I am, the first house, and need the moon person to teach them the we are, the seventh house. The shadow side, emotional enmeshment. Because this is a karmic bond, it is rarely easy in the long term without conscious work. The trap of moon oppose ascendant is emotional codependency. The moon person may become so reactive to the ascendant person's physical presence and actions that they lose their own center. Karmically, this can manifest as a suffocating love. If the past life connection was one of survival, the souls may feel an irrational fear of abandonment. They might cling to each other not out of current-day love, but out of a cellular memory that they cannot survive without the other's protection. The evolution required here is to move from dependence to interdependence. The sacred home. Ultimately, the karmic goal of this synastry aspect is the creation of a sacred container. When the opposition is handled with awareness, it results in a partnership where the moon person feels seen at their most vulnerable level, and the ascendant person feels emotionally grounded by their partner's intuition. They are settling the karma of the outsider, proving to one another that they are no longer alone in the world. It is a signature of couples who create a shared life that feels like a sanctuary from the harshness of the external world. By facing one another, the opposition, they see their own emotional reflections and can finally heal the wounds of past life displacement. In karmic astrology, the moon sign acts as a memory bank of the soul, representing the biological and emotional karma we carry from past incarnations. It dictates our reigning need, the specific emotional frequency required to feel safe and seen. Sign by sign. Moon in Aries. The inner need. Immediate action, autonomy, and honesty. Karmic brief. These souls often carry the memory of being warriors or solo survivors. In Synastry, they need a partner who respects their independence. The karma is about learning to lead with the heart without overpowering others. Moon in Taurus. The inner need. Physical security, sensory comfort, and predictability. Karmic brief. A steady soul history. They likely come from backgrounds where they were the providers or the rock. The lesson here is learning to find value in the intangible, not just the material. Moon in Gemini. The inner need. verbal processing, variety, and intellectual connection. Karmic brief. Souls who were messengers or students. They carry the karma of the witness. In relationships, they need to feel heard. The challenge is moving from intellectualizing feelings to actually feeling them. Moon in Cancer. The inner need. Emotional depth, domestic sanctuary, and mothering. Karmic brief. The moon is at home here. This person carries heavy tribal/family karma. They are often the designated healer of the lineage. Their lesson is to nurture themselves as much as they nurture the world. Moon in Leo. The inner need. Recognition, creative expression, and playful warmth. Karmic brief. Past lives involving leadership or being the center of a community. They carry a need for validation. The karmic goal is to find self-worth from within rather than relying on external applause. Moon in Virgo. The inner need, utility, order, and a sense of being needed. Karmic brief. Souls who served others or worked in healing/detail-oriented crafts. They often feel an innate wrongness they try to fix. The lesson is to accept imperfection as a sacred state. Moon in Libra. The inner need. Harmony, partnership, and aesthetic peace. Karmic brief. These souls have been the other half for many lifetimes. They feel incomplete alone. The karma involves finding balance and learning that conflict is sometimes necessary for growth. Moon in Scorpio. The inner need. Intensity, total honesty, and psychological depth. Karmic brief. This is the most karmically loaded moon. It suggests past life crises, betrayals, or deep transformations. They seek a soul merging. The lesson is trust and the alchemy of emotional pain into power. Moon in Sagittarius. The inner need, freedom, expansion, and philosophical truth. Karmic brief. The nomadic soul memory. They have a history of seeking the horizon. In Synastry, they struggle with feeling caged. The lesson is finding the internal journey, rather than always running toward an external one. Moon in Capricorn. The inner need. Competence, structure, and emotional restraint. Karmic brief. Often called the old soul moon. They carry the memory of heavy responsibilities and early maturity. The karma is about learning to be a child again and letting someone else hold the weight. Moon in Aquarius. The inner need. Space, objectivity, and community belonging. Karmic brief. These souls were often the outsiders or rebels of their time. They process emotions through a lens of logic. The lesson is learning to bridge the gap between human detachment and intimate connection. Moon in Pisces. The inner need. Transcendence, empathy, and spiritual merging. Karmic brief. The final stop of the lunar cycle. These souls carry the echoes of all previous signs. They are highly sensitive and absorb the environment. The karma is about setting boundaries and not drowning in the collective's pain. Subscribe to Karmic Synastry channel for guidance on your partnerships. Learn how to effectively navigate your karmic connections.